What could be more safe than your house? But trust me, there's all kinds of hormone disruptors from the things you're eating to the things you use to clean yourself, and these can have real effects on your health. So in the next couple minutes, I'm going to show you the key problems that most people don't realize they have in their house and how to fix them to keep you and your family healthy and safe. The problem is that there's a lot of synthetic fake molecules that have been designed in a lab that mimic natural hormones and jam your own biological locks. These are called endocrine disruptors. Things like phthalates and phenols. These are found in all kinds of plastics and synthetic fragrances. So let's go over what you need to know. Just to give you one tip of one of the things you're going to learn in this video, here's an example. If you have food in a can, like normal canned food, it's generally more affordable. But look what happens. Within 4 hours, you have a blood spike of these BPA levels, 206% above normal. So I'm going to try to show you all these dangerous places and the high yield things that you can change. So this is a nice article from a public health group at Harvard that summarizes a lot of these things. And the first thing to remember is that when you're looking at plastics and bottles, they're often marketed as BPA-free because we all know BPAs are bad. But what happens is that they may not have BPAs, but they have something else that's basically very similar called BPS or BPF. So it's a bait and switch. So don't fall for that. You got to look deeper. In addition, you got to remember that your skin is really the main source of a lot of these problems. So things you touch, not just things that you're eating. So, for example, parabens, this source of dangerous molecules, often will be found in your personal care products, your moisturizers, your fragrances. So, in this one study, switching to paraben free soap dropped levels by 88% in only a couple days. So, think about what's in your soap and avoid parabens. Look for paraben free soap. The other thing is, if you are buying organic food, you may think that you're totally fine. But in some studies, people who go organic actually have increased levels because they're also exposed to things like contaminated spices, things that are bulk packaged, like grains, and then things that are housed in plastic tubing. So you have to look at what the things you're buying are sitting in. You got to avoid plastics and look for levels of stuff in spices. You can't go wrong by just hand washing because phthalates, which are among the most dangerous molecules, they actually stick to dust in your home. So if you just wash your hands before eating, you're going to reduce a bunch of the risk. So grandma's advice was wash your hands before eating. Here's a summary of some of the things you can take home from this research. So definitely avoid canned foods. That's going to immediately reduce BPAs. Definitely replace your soap that has any parabens. Look for paraben-free soap. Those are easy fixes. Wash your hands before eating, and then look for not just BPA-free, but other things that are BPS-free and so on. And if you think that this is a small deal, I can assure you that when you look at these research studies, men and women of reproductive age who engage in these interventions will reduce a lot of these endocrine disrupting hormones in their bodies within a couple of days. So we know that's definitely true. Don't forget also what these molecules often do is they destroy reproduction. And that's true for women and men. So, for example, studies on what happens to sperm are really impressive too, because these disruptors will alter the DNA markers in sperm. And this can affect embryo development and birth size. So, any men who are looking to start a family, as well as any women who are trying to get pregnant, maybe in your 30s, you really need to pay attention to these sources of endocrine disruptors. So, let's start with the kitchen. We talked about cans. Check out your microwave. Oftentimes, you may microwave things with plastic wrap on top. That even is to be avoided because that can cause leaching of plastic. There's really no safe microwavable plastic. So always microwave without plastics or plastic wrap. Try to store things in glass too. So think about where you're storing your foods and how you're storing them. So think about glass, ceramic, stainless steel containers and avoid plastic. So you can make a big difference just by looking in your kitchen. The second thing is look in your bathroom. We talked about phthalates and parabens in soap, but here's some more specific advice. So when you're looking at your perfume, if the label says fragrance, just assume it contains hidden phthalates. You want to buy fragrance-free products and look at your soap and other products. And if anything has methyl, propyl, or butyl paraben, just assume that's a paraben. You want to get rid of that. Look at the ingredient list on your products just the way you look at the ingredient list on food you buy. Just like you're looking to avoid trans fats, you should avoid parabens and fragrance. Now, think about when you go out to the restaurant and the waiter gives you a receipt. That little receipt seems so harmless, but many studies have shown that this thermal paper is totally coated in bisphenols. These are dangerous phenols. And even when you touch them, you have immediate absorption through your skin. So always ask for a digital receipt and don't accept the receipt when someone gives it to you. Just say no thanks. And if you have to touch a paper receipt, just wash your hands right away. So in summary, your home is your castle, but it also has a hidden threat of causing disrupting chemicals getting into your body. And the scary thing is these are in everyday household items. They're mimicking natural hormones, they're messing up fertility, they're messing up other kinds of things that are connected to cancers. But you can take some control over your health by looking for these phthalates and these phenols. Look at your pantry, look at your bathroom, look at your kitchen, and try to make these changes. Hope you found this helpful. Hope this helps you and your family. Check out this other video if you're interested. Otherwise, join my free newsletter. Take care.